Michael, Fraudit Wrangler, Kiser says he was constitutionally offended by late court notice. Challenges police to come get him after arrest warrant. Surprised when police show up, and he goes in custody. Plus, BZWatchdog plots new audits while raising money for his legal defense. All this and more in this edition of Auditing Insanity. Good evening, and welcome to another combined Auditing Insanity newscast for February 7th and February 8th, 2025. I'm AI Johnny Jones, and we're in the middle of another slow news week. With that, we're going to dive into the news as we ask you to focus on Wrangler finds court notification constitutionally offensive. Directly addressing his fans for the first time since no-showing Wednesday's show cause hearing in Etowah County, Alabama. Michael, Fraudit Wrangler Kiser announced Thursday night that one of the reasons he decided not to appear at the hearing was that it was constitutionally offensive that he did not receive notice of the hearing from the court until February 1st, 2025. Kiser, appearing disheveled, unwell, and wide-eyed, addressed over 200 of his fans Thursday night in an end-of-the-week progress report where he provided various excuses for why he skipped Wednesday's hearing from his normal studio with no indication that he was preparing to run from authorities. When confronted with the fact that various YouTube outlets were reporting for months now, with documentation, that he had a show cause hearing scheduled for February 5th, 2025, he simply dismissed the claims, stating, "I do not in any way recognize a YouTuber as any form of official source of legal info." The YouTuber surprised many in his audience by starting the show with an admittance that he was guilty of all of the charges against him from a 2022 arrest. He is facing 2 charges of burglary in the 3rd degree, 1 charge of theft of property in the 3rd degree, 1 charge of fraudulent use of a credit/debit card, and 1 charge of theft of property in the 3rd degree. He clearly stated that he fucked up and was at fault for the actions, which carry roughly between 5 years and 35 years, and up to $15,000 in fines. However, he blamed medical issues over the past 2 days as another of the reasons he did not make the trip to Alabama to face the charges. Kiser also blamed his critics for his predicament, attacking a prominent YouTuber who has been driving recent coverage of Kiser for being a bad mother and having a work history that contained a job allegedly obtained for her from her father as her only accomplishment in life. The YouTuber said that since the same prominent YouTuber was judging his life out in the spectacle, it was only fair to judge her life, claiming without proof that she was on welfare and food stamps and going into her personal relationships. He also spent a good portion of his broadcast ignoring the accusations against him and commenting on and agreeing with commenters in his side chat who made accusations and personal attacks against his critics. Kiser's court records had still not been updated with a bond revocation or a warrant as of early Friday morning. Even if a nationwide extraditable warrant was issued, the YouTuber showed no fear of extradition Thursday night, blatantly live streaming from his home and offering no indication that he would turn himself into authorities and face his charges. Critics have noted that while Kiser has been quick to throw out accusations against First Amendment auditors and he passed 4 lacking honor, both Manuel Mata and Carolina in Fort Worth faced bail revocation charges in the past week, and both showed up to court without incident. They are both currently free after posting bond. The ultimate First Amendment personality, who supposedly lacks honor, Jose "Chili" de Castro, showed up to all of his court appearances without incident last year despite having serious problems with the accusations against him. De Castro was ultimately acquitted of a conviction upon appeal after expressing real concerns with the process leading to his conviction. It is unclear what Kiser is doing to address his situation, as he has made it clear that there are issues that he will not broadcast on YouTube with his charges and will address them at a later date. This is an ongoing news story. Thursday and Friday saw goose eggs spread across the market as none of the campaigns we follow receive donations. The lack of donations gives opportunity, however, and that's to dive into the world of BZWatchdog Wrangler, who has made news with his work recently with Carolina and Fort Worth and his problems with Kevin, the angry vet soaper. Wrangler announced this week that his jury trial for a single charge from November of disorderly conduct language has been scheduled for March 24, 2025. The charges stem from an incident in November when he was set to pick up a rider for Uber in a gated community in the Fort Worth area. Words were exchanged between Wrangler and security guards for the gated community, who refused to allow Wrangler into the community. Controversy surrounded what Wrangler said to one of the security guards, with a confusion scenario playing out with the police and the guard stating that Wrangler effectively told the security guard, who was black, to go back to Africa, and Wrangler defending the comments as the man was actually from Africa. Wrangler was ultimately briefly detained at the scene and let go after having a ticket issued for disorderly conduct. This incident resulted in trolls reporting Wrangler's actions against the security guard and interactions with police to Uber, and Wrangler ultimately losing his position within the company. Wrangler has raised roughly $954 out of the $2,500 he says he needs to fund his criminal defense in the case. He's been running a scroll at the bottom of his streams directing his viewers to donate, with his last donation to his dedicated GoFundMe coming a month ago. The YouTuber has denied making racially insensitive comments in the incident and is standing behind his belief that he cannot be charged with disorderly conduct for offensive speech as it is protected under the First Amendment. Under Texas Penal Code Section 42.01, hate speech is considered a form of disorderly conduct and a Class C misdemeanor. If Wrangler is found guilty of the crime, he can be punished by a fine of up to $500. Wrangler also made news in a recent live stream as he indicated that he would soon be conducting First Amendment audits of soft targets such as smoke shops and pharmacies and anything with a doorway he can monitor with his camera to record people coming and going from the establishment. The YouTuber indicated that since Texas does not have marijuana dispensaries, he intended to focus on smoke shops in order to provoke reactions from customers. He indicated that they were similar enough to follow the recent trend set by the First Amendment Protection Agency and others of purposely provoking patrons of controversial establishments in order to provide content for his YouTube channel. While filming from public sidewalks is legal in the state of Texas, the candor Wrangler shared in his live streams of how he purposely picks soft targets for essentially maximum negative response from the public was a new and interesting look into the mind of an auditor. We will continue to update his quest to fund his legal defense as his trial date approaches.
Journalism is not free. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, keeping the cats fed, and writing new stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, we do have a GoFundMe set up at the address on screen right now. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch the advertisements on our videos, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.
Fraudit Wrangler apprehended in Oklahoma. In perhaps the least surprising outcome of a fugitive from justice story, Michael William Kiser, more widely known as Fraudit Wrangler, was taken into custody by Oklahoma police at 4:45 p.m. Central Time on Friday, according to a post by his wife Kimmy Dawn. The news of Kiser's arrest broke a little after 8 p.m. Eastern Time as most monitoring services, including VinLink, updated their records to indicate that Kiser was now in custody. The records indicated that Kiser was booked into the Oklahoma County Detention Center at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, with no other details of his arrest. Kiser was wanted on an outstanding warrant from skipping a show cause hearing on Wednesday for 5 felony charges. The YouTuber was expected to explain why he moved from the state of Alabama to Oklahoma in defiance of the court's orders to stay in the state. The day after his no-show in Alabama, Kiser strangely decided to go live from his home in Oklahoma and defiantly dismissed the court date as he was constitutionally offended by the fact that he claimed he only received notice of the court date on February 1st, 2025, despite news outlets and YouTube channels widely reporting the court date for over a month. Kiser defiantly said that he did not accept news from YouTubers as a real source of his court information and proceeded to claim Brady violations in the handling of his court case, his constitutional outrage, and health issues as reasons why he did not make his court date. He then launched into a bitter attack on the YouTube channels and personalities who had been reporting the news. He singled out YouTube personality Shiz for over 45 minutes of dedicated abuse, calling into question her mothering skills, her work history, her finances, and her influence over the First Amendment auditing community. His savage attack from his home, an address which is publicly available from court documents, while seemingly taunting authorities to come get him, offered little surprise when, within 24 hours, he was in custody. Kiser gained prominence in 2023 as an occasional guest on Fraudit Troll's YouTube channel. He launched his own YouTube channel soon after and upset fans by releasing videos directly mimicking Fraudit Troll's most popular videos. He would later split with Troll and focus on his own live shows where he regaled his fans with stories of his military background, establishing himself as a war hero with multiple Purple Hearts and attempting to further establish himself as a modern-day G.I. Joe figure. In May of 2023, the Welsh News Network released Wrangler's extensive criminal history, showing that he was a career criminal and was facing multiple felony counts in Alabama, along with a murder charge that was later dropped on a technicality. Later that year, it was revealed by YouTuber Stone Vet and others that his entire military history was a lie and that he, in fact, had not moved past boot camp. However, instead of destroying his YouTube career, the controversy surrounding Wrangler inexplicably brought his channel to new heights, consistently drawing hundreds of people to his near-nightly live streams. A cottage industry of sorts was formed around Wrangler, with channels devoted to re-streaming Wrangler's live streams while mocking and taunting the YouTuber. Thousands of dollars were generated as Wrangler had the dual role of being a LOL cow to most of the community, while having a loyal fan base showering him with praise, super chats, and an income that made supporting himself and his family easy. Wrangler's downfall, along with the loss of the non-related for public safety channel run by Christopher Ryder, which had a similar cottage industry built around it, leaves a significant financial and entertainment loss within the community. It is unclear which channel will be chosen to fill the void, as even frequent LOL cow Jose Chili De Castro no longer puts out enough daily content to feed an industry demanding daily content to mock. No GoFundMe campaigns or other crowd-sourcing fundraisers have been announced to go towards Michael Kiser's bond or his commissary accounts as of press time. Kiser presumably will be in custody in Oklahoma until an extradition hearing is held, and then will be transferred to Alabama next week to face charges. We will update this story as we receive further information. And we're back. For those joining us for the first time, welcome. Really Cool News has been around as a dedicated daily newspaper since the fall of 2022. The publication expanded at the request of the internet personality only known as Shuggy in the summer of 2024 to provide daily newscasts and individual audio reporting of the text-based news stories. While we have worked with other news outlets in the past, we are primarily an independent news outlet, and we provide original news content, along with screenshots and documentation and backlinks to the original YouTube content we review where possible. We do not watermark our content, even if we've paid significant amounts for documentation. An example of which came last week with the most recent filings by Michael Blue Bacon Piratini, who is being sued by Jose Chil De Castro, as we feel that no one owns the news. Our publication attempts to present from a neutral tone, and we're here to present the news as objectively as possible. We're not out to get anyone, and we do feel it weird and strange for those who demand credit for bringing down and getting targets of their reporting. That's not us. If you're looking for that sort of controversy, you can look elsewhere. Likewise, we're not here to build clout or establish ourselves as singular personalities related to the news. Information is information, and no one has the right to claim sole ownership of information, especially when that information is freely accessible by doing simple YouTube searches. We give credit for reporting when it's due, and if we report information from an exclusive source, we give that credit as part of our reporting. We do not demand credit from other outlets from redistributing our material, including our documentation, because frankly, most of the time, we've moved on to the next story or series of stories, and life is too short to be bitchy about the news. If we've missed accreditation for a news article, we apologize in advance. If alerted to a mistake, we do our best to work with individuals to correct those mistakes. Spamming, making personal attacks, public call-outs, etc. usually don't work with us as we're simply on to the next story and there's no time to look back. Sorry, we're not here for drama and will more than likely remain in obscurity because of it. That said, we're thankful for your patronage and continued support of our newspaper and newscast. We will continue to provide you with the news for as long as you continue to want to get your news from us. With that, we're out of here. Have a wonderful night all.